Okay, excellent. Good afternoon. Welcome to Mondays with the Mayor. I'm Laura, and with me today is our acting city manager, Carly Lorenz. Hi. Hi, Carly. I have a few city updates for you this week, and then want to spend most of our time talking about the city's plans for the summer. City Council does have a meeting tomorrow night, and a couple of big items on the agenda. First, we will be discussing the course tech development. It's on first reading, so there's no final vote, but it is the first time that the project is being presented at City Council. It's been in front of Planning Commission up until now. Also tomorrow night, we'll be holding a public hearing, so public comments definitely welcomed, and a vote, so it is on second reading, for the new form-based zoning. So it's for certain residential zone districts as part of this first phase. We talked about zoning a couple weeks ago here with Mr. Rick Murby. And tomorrow night is actually council's opportunity to vote to enact those changes. So a couple of big things on the agenda for discussion tomorrow night, including the vote on the zoning code. But it's hard to believe, but we are coming up on Memorial Day this weekend, which is the unofficial start of summer. It doesn't feel like it, but it is definitely time to talk about summer. One of Council's goals, or the city's goals, has been to improve management of the Clear Creek corridor to make a safe, enjoyable experience for the many people who visit during the summer. The corridor attracts community members from Greater Golden, as well as cyclists, tubers, other visitors from further away. So after many years, we've been talking about Clear Creek corridor management for a lot of years, and over the years we've seen continued growth in activity and visitors to the corridor. And the city is introducing this year a series of measures at improving conditions in Clear Creek, as well as in the parks and on the adjacent trails in the corridor. So these measures that we've adopted, that the city is trying, are informed by the data that was collected last summer, as well as numerous meetings with community members, outfitters, city boards and commissions, and city council. So I have lots of information about what we're trying this summer, the details of which Ms. Lorenz, Carly's going to help talk us through. So one of the biggest challenges over the years has been congestion in the corridor and the impacts to the neighborhood. And a number of years ago, we introduced some permit parking for the neighborhood, and we introduced some new measures with barricades and things last summer. This is the impact when people choose to drive to the corridor, right? They bring their cars, they need a place to park. How is the city planning to manage parking this year?
Yes, so it is a big issue that we hear a lot about. And with the city's recent, or somewhat recent, everything feels recent before the pandemic, somewhat recent purchase of the Coors property over to the east, we really have a lot of space there for parking currently. And so we'd really like people to use that parking. It really will prevent the neighborhood impacts that we see a ton of, and help this area stay less congested. So we're going to do our best to try to get people to use those parking lots as much as possible. One of the ways we're doing that is by still using the barricades and permit parking for neighborhoods, expanding it to some neighborhoods and sometimes. And then also looking at expanding paid parking for the whole west of Washington area of 10th. Really the intent with doing that is to make this just the less attractive place to park. We want the free, easy, no thinking way to park to be over to the Coors side, the east side. And that would really, really help a lot of the congestion that we see. So we're hoping we can make it so that that's the easiest thing to do, and that this area stays just less traffic, less congestion. So that's really one of our big goals. We're going to be monitoring it throughout the summer, and there might be changes because we don't know exactly what behaviors it'll trigger, where it'll move, where the congestion might move. So we're really trying to just monitor it closely and try to make sure that we're doing what we can to improve congestion in the area.
Perfect. So the big takeaway on parking, and it is a big change because everyone has been used to being able to drive and park anywhere that they've been able to find a space. The big takeaway is west of Washington is no longer going to be free parking for general use. So unless you're going to the museum or the library or the community center, unless you're going to a specific use, you're going to have to pay for parking. If you want the free parking, go east of Washington, and that's at the new parking lot at 304 10th Street, which is the old Coors office building parking. So big changes, but always keep on the lookout for those signs that will direct you to free or paid parking along 10th Street. There's going to be some resources online. I'll share some of that information at the end, but the city will make sure that we have those details about where to park, as well as where those parking kiosks will be for the paid parking. Next up, the going from parking to people going through the corridor in something other than a vehicle, on foot, on bicycle, on scooter, however else they're getting through the corridor on the trail. We know that the Clear Creek Corridor Trail supports a lot of different types of users. And we know it gets particularly crowded during summer weekends. So what changes are being made to address congestion on the trail?
Yes. So this year we were really looking at short-term changes. We do know that we need long-term changes to really provide more avenues of different uses to get across that area. We just really have too many different uses, too many different people for the space that we currently have. So we do know that that's a long-term problem. But this year we really focused on what are some things we can do to improve the experience of the people today, so not just wait for those kind of longer-term fixes. So some of the things that we're doing are going to be striping down the middle of the path, which we hope to encourage people to stay even single file and improve kind of the two-way traffic of the path, as well as having the south side of the creek be for the faster traffic. So cyclists trying to come through the area, people that are just trying to walk through quickly, they can use that south side path. And then the north side is really going to be for slower traffic. So if you're on a bike on the north side, it really needs to be walking pace, really paying attention to the other users on the trail, and tubes. All tubes need to be on the north side. No tubes at all on the south side to make it so that it's a little bit faster to use. So those are really the big ones. We're going to have a lot of new signage to try to help guide people to use those two different ways of using the path. But we're really hoping that it can improve some of the usage of the trail.
Great. Yeah, those changes as well. I'm sure we'll be monitoring and see how the signage works. A lot of new opportunities to encourage new behavior and let people, not just those of us in Golden who use the trail, but those who are coming maybe just for the day or the weekend, how we do things when we're moving through the corridor. So looking forward to seeing those signs and some of those changes coming up here very soon. One of the other pieces is around public safety, which is critically important to the city. And this specifically is about people who want to recreate in the creek itself, so not just in the corridor, but actually in the water. What measures is the city taking to improve creek safety? I know we started some last year with the flags. What's new or what's going to be different this year?
So we're going to continue to use the flag program just to help people stay informed of the status of the creek and really make informed decisions about when's a good time to participate in recreational activities on the creek. The other piece this year is we're really going to talk more about life jackets, because life jackets are very, very important on the creek and make a huge difference in the ability for our first responders to save people, rescue people, and just in general, people really can miss kind of diagnose their own swimming skills.
Yeah.
Like think that they can handle it, and then you get in there and it's a different story. And so it's really important to encourage life jacket usage all around. So we're going to make definitely more of an effort to make sure that all of the tube rental companies are including life jackets with all of the tube rentals, as well as anyone on the creek, making sure that they're thinking about life jackets as well.
Great. So the new, we've always known that life jackets, and this year we'll really be encouraging them. And I think that as a second year, looking at those water metrics and Clear Creek flows, hopefully folks are more accustomed to looking for those levels to understand what level it's safe to go in for a kayak, for a tube, as a swimmer, really to make sure that they understand the risks involved in entering Clear Creek. Next up, we have some really amazing public parks and facilities along the corridor. What steps is the city taking to ensure safe, clean, and family-friendly parks?
Yes, so we're really going to try to step up our trash collection efforts around the corridor and downtown. We're working on getting some different recycling bins and trash bins throughout the whole area, and really trying to make recycling more accessible throughout the whole corridor. One rule that we're going to be talking to visitors and community members about is not having disposable trash in the water, in the banks of the creek, because we really see a lot of trash and a lot of litter get into the water, and it's just really problematic. And so for us, a big part of keeping the whole area clean and enjoyable for all is going to be trying to get those disposable containers really out of the way of the creek. In addition, these aren't new rules, but they're still very important rules, which are no smoking, no alcoholic beverages. Those are really important for just maintaining the safety of the area and knowing that it can be a really risky activity getting in the creek, and we want to make sure that it's done as safely as possible.
Terrific. Yeah, and we've heard, and I know the city is working on additional enforcement officers to help enforce those rules around the alcohol, smoking, dogs on leash. All of those rules, some additional personnel to help enforce, as well as we're continuing the program with the ambassadors, right, this year. So that was new last year, and continuing that this year, more of a friendly approach to help visitors with questions and some of these new rules. Maybe they can direct them to free parking and better trail use. So we're keeping on with the ambassador program as well, which is great. So just kind of to wrap it up, these are a lot of new strategies that the city's trying, and we're trying them for the summer.
Yes.
Some are continuing from last year, some are brand new, and the city's going to measure and review the results as the summer progresses to make adjustments as needed. If there needs to be adjustments to parking throughout the summer, can make those along the way, or make adjustments for next year and see what worked and didn't work and what we want to continue. So the city's going to be updating information about all of these new rules this week on the city websites, and we'll continue to update the information throughout the summer. And you'll be able to get that most up-to-date information, all the maps about where parking is and free and paid, the conditions of the creek, if there's closures, all of that information will be available online through the city website. If you do have any questions about creek rules or if you have feedback, the city does have an email address specific to just those types of inquiries, and that's creek@cityofgolden.net. You can also call city phone number 303-384-8074. Of course, any calls, emergency calls about life-threatening situations should always go to 911, and any non-emergency calls for police, fire, or EMS can go to 303-980-7300. So next Monday is Memorial Day, so this is the long weekend. We will not have a Mondays with the mayor next week, but I do hope that everybody has a wonderful, safe, fun holiday weekend and is ready for a terrific summer in Golden. Thanks.
Thank you.